Okay.
All right, good afternoon, all. Welcome to the OCTAX committee meeting for February 25th. I'm sitting in for Dennis, but he's still on YouTube, I think.
Yes.
I'm going to turn the agenda over to Kristen Hannafin because she's been working with Dennis on all these resolutions. It'll make it easier if she explains them all. Are you all still with us, Kristen?
I am.
Okay, let's start with the A.
Okay, resolution A is to reappropriate from the reserve $15,000 to the 2022 budget for the town of Johnsburg's website marketing. The rationale for this is that, according to the town of Johnsburg, their consultant ran into some technical issues to maintain their website and did not submit vouchers for payment. So they request that $15,000 be carried over to find another vendor to maintain that website and marketing.
Okay. Do I have a motion on that?
I'll move it.
Dennis,
Yeah.
you got a second?
Sorry, Brad McGowan.
All right. Yes, Brad. Oh, you can't second that. Oh, you want to ask a question?
No, he's on the committee.
No, I'm on the committee,
Well,
unless you don't want me to be on the committee, but I believe I'm on the committee.
it doesn't say on the top here, so you're welcome to be on the committee. All right, second by Brad.
What are we on? Occupancy tax?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Dickinson, Molino, Wild, McGowan, Runyon, Stroud, Grassi.
What's he saying?
He just cut off.
On the committee.
All right, well, up here, the one I got must have been a change because I don't have it here. Give me
Well,
the-
I noticed that on some of the other committees, they're not all updated yet, I guess, so.
Sorry about that. We'll make sure we have the correct committee.
Oh, that's all right.
All right, Mr. Gowan, thank you. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Number B.
Okay, resolution B is to approve $9,606.34 from the Special Events Fund, Occupancy Tax Fund to cover marketing expenditures incurred prior to COVID for services rendered by the Glens Falls GGFAACA, which is the representative for the New York State Public High School Athletic Association's Boys Basketball Championship in Glens Falls. This group helps organize and works with Jeff at the Cool and String Arena, and they did the marketing and promotion of this. Unfortunately, the events for boys basketball were postponed in 2020 and 21, and they did incur costs at this time. They were rescheduled to this Cool and String Arena for 2022 through 2024. So they're looking for their marketing expenditures to be covered during this time.
I'll make that motion. All right, Mr. Nick, I'm sorry, Mr. Stroud made the motion.
I'll second it, Gene.
Dennis, second it.
Discussion.
Any questions? Yes, to Mr. McGowan.
Yeah, don't we have ARPA money for that, or not ARPA money, but don't we have funds that were set aside? I mean, this was a COVID related cancellation. So I hate to take out funds if we already have funds or can use other funds to get that reimbursed. I mean, could that come through ARPA?
These funds were initially approved prior to COVID, I believe. And
But it was
therefore,
canceled because of COVID.
well, the events were canceled, but they were rescheduled for 2022 to 2024. So in essence, they were not able to occur during the COVID time. However, they were rescheduled. So therefore, the events will still take place. The basketball tournament is taking place in March of this year and through 2024 at the Cool and String.
All right, cool.
So they're just
All right,
shifted.
so they're not asking for 10,000 for last year for the cancellation, 10,000 this year. They've already done it. So, all right, cool.
Right,
Sorry,
they
carry on.
just incurred the marketing costs with the assumption that they were able to move forward. However, with COVID, and Jeff is also on with us, he might be able to speak a little bit to this too, but because of the restrictions that were on the Cool and String Arena and on other arenas around the state and around the country, the events were not able to take place.
Okay, thank you.
You got your answer, Ms. McGowan. That's good. All right,
Yep.
so we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passed. Number C.
Okay, resolution C is to approve funding to request $14,000 from the reserve to support Horicon's Food Truck Fridays. This was discussed back several months ago when they initially submitted through the special events occupancy tax in late of 2021. The committee advised and moved that this application be resubmitted through the municipal supplemental funding request for consideration and approval.
I'll move it.
I'm sorry, who? Dennis? All right. Do I get a second? Mr. McGowan?
No, well, not without, I guess, yeah, to open it up for discussion, please.
All right, we're up for discussion. We got a motion and a second. Anybody needs any discussion time?
All right.
Go ahead, Mr. McGowan.
Yeah, 2 years ago, we paid for a tent. And now we're looking to pay, this is a Horicon event. I mean, what kind of skin does Horicon got in this?
This event is requesting funding not through the initial special events fund, but actually through the municipal supplemental funding, which is $195,000 in it. So it's a supplemental request by the town of Horicon.
Well, I mean, 2 years ago, didn't we give money for a tent through the occupancy tax fund? So we set up this reserve to, I mean, I'm just wondering, Queensbury, I mean, John, do we have events that we pull from this pool? Mr. Straugh?
What are you asking me?
Nothing. Thank you.
You was asking if you pull any events for Queensbury from that pool of money. Anybody, any town could pull it.
We use the pool of money that we're given and haven't pulled any extra for any reason.
No, I just, the years I've been here, I've never seen that. And like I said, I know we pulled money out for the, and it's a great festival. I'm not knocking that. I've been up, three times up there. I do enjoy it, but I'm just wondering if, I just want to make sure that the town has some skin in, in the events that they want to put on. So.
Joanne, you have?
So I'll just explain a little bit, and some of the committee members are new. Of the OCTAX collections, 25% goes back to the towns. The larger towns of Lake George, Queensbury, and Bolton receive larger amounts of money, and the smaller towns receive a minimum of $30,000. And then after the true up comes in at the end of March, the money is divided among the towns according to how much they collected. So smaller towns will receive smaller amounts. In the past, there's been what we've referred to as a spending plan, where there was additional funding to each of the towns. That has not occurred for the last couple of years. We put that on hold during COVID. So in the 2022 budget, there's $195,000 set aside for municipalities to request additional funds if after their 25%, that whatever their little share of that pie is, if they've already allocated those dollars and they have another tourism related event that needs some funding, they can come back to the OCTAX committee, and there's an application that we reviewed and approved last year. And that's what this is falling under. That's the category. So the town of Horicon said, okay, I've got my 25%. I have certain things that I'd like to spend it on, but now I have the food trucks and I don't have enough money to fund this event that's, a really cool event for my town. So I'm coming back to the committee from that municipal supplemental pot of money.
Oh, can I have a follow up with Joanne?
Yes, go ahead.
Joanne, thank you very much. That was awesome. And you were so far going to be missed. I was on earlier. Congratulations on the future retirement, but that was an awesome explanation. And thank you very much. And I don't have a problem with it.
It has changed over the last couple of years, so it's understandable that there are some questions.
Thank you.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second. Any other questions? A motion to approve?
Aye.
All in
Aye.
favor? I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Uh,
Opposed? It's passed. All right, move on to the next one.
Okay, resolution D is a request to approve funding for $3,000 from the reserve to support summer programming for Up Yonda Environmental Center through the Municipal Supplemental Fund. The funding was requested by Kevin Hajos to be used in conjunction with Glens Falls National Trust grant to support programming for summer nature programs at Up Yonder Environmental Center. So Kevin is with us if he wants to say a few words a little bit more about the program.
Sure.
I'll move that.
Evan, go ahead.
Thank you, Kristen. So as you all were, as Kristen just said, we are reliant upon the Glens Falls Trust to support Up Yonder Farms. And typically our budget for their share is about $215,000. But we have approximately $245,000 in expenses. So the rest of that money comes in through revenue, through programs and such that we have it Up Yonder Farm. So this $3,000 we put in the budget every year. We haven't necessarily had to use it in the last couple of years because we haven't been able to run a lot of the programs that we would normally run because of COVID. This year, we hope to get back on track with what we've done in the past. This mainly covers most of the summer programs and the tourists that come in. And they're programs like Pond Life, Aquatic Adventures, Naturalist Hikes. We did a lot of snapshot programs last year, which were quick sort of programs to, meet some wildlife like the turtles and such that we have up there. And it brought in quite a few people just to see what we have. But being able to do that is through advertising, and we need some items for the program. So that's what this $3,000 would basically cover, is some advertising for the programs and some materials that are going to be used for the programs as well.
I'll make a motion.
I'll move it.
Who made that motion? I'm sorry, I can't see it all the way up the screen.
Brad
Just,
McGowan.
Brad, you made the motion. Who seconded?
I sure did.
No, who seconded?
I did, Gene.
Oh, who made, you did? Okay, Dennis. Oh, there you are on the screen. I'm sorry, I just can't see with the hands waving who the people are. All right, so you got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passed. Number
On a
eight.
resolution request is to approve funding for $15,000 from the reserve for Warren County Planning Department's match to develop an outdoor recreation economy strategic plan to increase economic impact of outdoor recreation on job creation, entrepreneurship, and tourism. The planning process will also identify capital projects, development of business attractions, and retention plans, and a benchmarking to measure the industry performance. Ethan Gaddy is here to talk a little bit more about that program and explain to you this particular request. So I will turn it over to Ethan to get into more detail.
All right, Ethan, are you with us?
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
I'll keep this very brief. Thank you. So can you see my PowerPoint? Good,
Yes.
great. So we applied last year through Empire State Development for a study, as Kristen just aptly described. I won't read that over again. It's a $100,000 project total. I broke down the different tasks that were associated with that. We had allocated $35,000 from a general fund as part of our match and $15,000 from the planning department staff time. We requested $50,000. This slide shows the original grant request for a $100,000 project total. For whatever reason, Empire State Development only awarded us $42.5 thousand. So that left us, $7,500 difference. In addition to this grant, though, we also got almost all of our grant applications were successful, and some of those also required staff time to administer and manage. So what I'm asking this group today is for, in addition to the $7,500 gap that was, not awarded by Empire State Development, to actually double that amount so that the planning department, instead of requiring about 4 weeks of our time, instead we would have a maximum of around 2 weeks of our time, and we'd have a full $100,000 project. Right now, hiring a consultant to do planning work is kind of tricky. It would not hurt our case to have a little additional money in there to hire a consultant to do this work. We can get the project done faster And hopefully this will be done in advance of grant application season next year. So that's a general breakdown of what these costs are.
All right, anybody have any questions?
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
All right, so I need a motion to approve it.
I'll move.
Mr. Stroud, Dennis, did you second it?
Dennis, yep.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Thank you very much. I think you'd be quite happy with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan.
Okay, number 6, 5.
6, I believe, Mike Swan already gave an update
Right.
on,
Mikey gave us the report.
gave the
Okay.
report previously. So we will go then to under discussion items, number B, which is suggested new occupancy tax funding application deadlines for 2022. So for those of you that were on the committee last year, we went through the entire process of creating a new application and with deadlines on it. And some of these have needed to shift just based on the timelines. We have received a couple of new applications, which one we'll be talking about in the next set here. But for B, we are looking and requesting approval to shift the dates for off-peak applications, which off-peak would include October through May for fiscal year 2022, to have these applications due April 4th. We would then have a review and scoring time, presentations around the 25th of April, and a final decision of May 23rd for final awards. Secondly, for peak, June through September events, these would be then, the applications would be due for October 3rd of 2022. Review and scoring time would then follow that. Presentations would be then October 24th. Final decisions would then be November 21st for fiscal year 2023. And the reason for these shifts is also to some of these off-peak events are just ending within the next few weeks. Ice Castles is finishing up. Winter Carnival is finishing up. And these are events that frankly, we would like to look at and get their after action reports and see how they did. Again, going back to the whole idea of strategy in our economic development and in our overall investments. So to be able to look at these and evaluate them clearly and see how we would like to make those new investments into 2023 with those off-peak events. So at this point, it can be up for discussion, or I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
We just did that, right? Here. Yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did. We just did that.
You did this one, but you didn't do the budget amendment. This one?
Mhm.
So, yeah, there's a budget amendment. You gotta approve the budget amendment.
Okay. That's not.
Kristen, can I ask a question about
course.
that?
Go
So,
ahead. I'm sorry.
so are you asking for the after action report, let's say from Ice Castles, and also their application for next year at the same time? Based
Well,
on the timeline?
Each and every applicant who does receive funding from us has to provide us with the vouchers afterwards to get their funding, because it is a reimbursable process. Within that particular process is also a request that we ask for an update or an after action report on how the event actually did and how it performed, and those types of stats and data and information. So with that, it would be an entire package that we could then go back and look at within the new application for 2023. In case of Ice Castles, if they come back and ask for another $50,000, it would be advantageous for them to also include that in their application for 2023 funding, to be able to say, we were able to garner 80,000 tickets sold. We were able to generate, X amount of room nights. So that information can always be more helpful to our committee to make those decisions. And I think more information for them is certainly advantageous.
So that's a yes. So Ice Castles Winter Carnival would need to also apply by April 4th for next year.
Correct.
Okay.
That would be correct, yes.
Just Larry Ellman, just a process question. The review and scoring occurs before the presentations, not after?
Yes.
That would be the time we allow the committee to review the applications. So Kristen will send the application, a summary, and a score sheet to everyone, all of the supervisors on the OCTAX committee, and allow them a period of time. Because if you remember last year, there may have been 20 or more applications. So this process is new to everyone, but that's the reasoning behind that you need some time. You can't do it overnight. You can't do it sitting at a committee meeting to really read through the application and go through the scoring process.
Okay, any other questions? All right, all right, we have to approve this B. So we have a motion and a second. Are all in favor for part B for discussions?
There was no motion.
No motion? Okay, good. Because I missed something here on the 15,000 that we just approved for the planning department. This is on another page over here, that we have to take the revenue out of the reserve fund for 15,000. So we need a motion to do that, to pay the revenue that we just voted on just before the motion. So,
Move that, Gene.
all right, Dennis, you made it. Who seconded it? We got a second. Is that Brad?
Yep, sorry, Mike was off. Brad McGowan.
All right, Brad. All in favor?
All
Aye.
right,
Opposed? All right, so now we're caught with that one. Now let's move back over here. How about now C? We have people here from the Harmony Group, Barbershop Harmony. They'd like to say something and approach the committee. Would like to get up to the microphone?
I would just note that Kristen did send the application and the score sheet for the barbershop festival to the committee members. So hopefully they've had some time to review that and do some scoring. And then the folks are here from the festival to make a presentation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. I'm assuming I'm good to go. I am, good, okay.
Is that on? It's on.
It's on, good, okay. I was asked to keep my comments brief, who I represent and some key points. So I have about 8 quick key points for you. I do represent the Northeastern District of the Barbershop Harmony Society. My name is Diane Brooks. I live in Glens Falls, and I'm the manager of a healthcare facility in Queensbury. So of the district, I am the local go-to person. I am also the site coordinator for our Northeastern District, which is part of an international Barbershop Harmony Society group, a 4-part a cappella chorus and quartets. They were founded back in 1976. I'm here for 3 reasons. One, I obviously need your help. And we were successful events in Lake George prior to COVID. I support this area totally, and I want to rebuild our events and keep them moving forward. And then the 3rd reason I'm here is I believe it's important to make the effort, and we were able to make the effort to present in person. So for our division that I'm here for, just so you know, our parameters, we are representative from Montreal. So we have 2 chapters up there, all the New England states, Eastern New York, and south to the Peekskill area. But we also invite the districts, surrounding districts like Mid-Atlantic, which is New York City and New Jersey and those areas. And also Seneca Land, which is Western New York and all of those areas out that way. So our our district and our areas are wide and widespread. So, and I think it's important because I know we've heard many people say when they've come here that they've come back in the summertime for vacations and so forth. And I know that because I get phone calls saying, hey, we're down here. And I'm next door, so we can get together, or at least I know it's being done. And even this year is something new, which is great. We're branching out. The society has opened up their doors to women. For all these years, it's been a men's organization only, but now we're open to women. So we accept women, men, and now mixed groups. So that provides us even more opportunity to grow, which is endless, really. So that's awesome. I know a few years ago in Lake George, we invited a chorus. Usually it's quartets, 4 people, but we invited a chorus. It came from New York City, down and back. And they were very well received. So this year I'm branching out and trying to rebuild the event and having a chorus come up from Pennsylvania, an international chorus. And it's also great, in addition to the mixed and women added, they will be coming up by cars. So more members, more cars, which means more hotel rooms, more gas needed for their vehicles, more food, more shopping, more everything. So we are truly trying to expand. Our event is the end of April, April 29th through May 1st. It is a convention and a contest. We hold the contest, and again, expanded men, women, mixed choruses and quartets. We also offer master classes to the music students, their educators, our music directors and leaders and members. And on Saturday night of that weekend, there is a show, and the winners from the contests, quartet and chorus, get to perform, but also the international guests get to perform, which is a drawing card for all of our members as far around as we, as they come. So that's really huge in our world. Let's see, what else? 6. At this point in time, just FYI, all participants and all attendees at the event must show proof of vaccination, wear mask at all times except when they're on stage singing. And even the judges, which come from around the world, basically, must be masked too. So that's the protocol at this point in time. I'm looking to get your support so that I can really reach out as quickly as I can and let everybody know about our guests, get them excited about the guests, get them planning to come and visit the area. And I need to do that as early as I can, obviously. My further goal or future goal is to keep building on this so that eventually I can say, hey, let's have a district convention here, which represents everybody throughout our district. And let's get one here for this area. So I'm restarting the plan to rebuild, regrow in an area that I don't believe has a whole lot of a cappella groups and so forth in the area. And we can help the community because the community is invited on that Saturday night show to come and watch and move forward every year. So again, I appreciate your time. I appreciate whatever help you can give us. And together we can go forward. Thank you.
Dennis, are you still with us?
Yes.
Do you have any more information on this or what you think?
They had a very successful program prior to COVID, June. I was invited to the Saturday night event and they filled the gymnasium. It was packed. It's a great event. You go around afterwards singing all over the place.
Yes, even restaurants, they sing.
Yeah.
I'm also, just one more thing, I'm also super excited about the Queensbury High School. I like the area. I like the school. The auditorium is huge, beautiful, and I'm excited about showing it off. And it also provides lodging across the road. There's church across the road. There's gas stations, restaurants, places to eat, places to shop. They know where the outlet stores are. So it's, as I say, I live here and it's a perfect spot.
Chairman,
Anybody have any comments? Brad? is
Brad
that you?
McGowan,
Yep. Go ahead.
me?
Yeah.
Okay, do we have the, how's the money, looking in the funding? I know we're starting to, our next round, I know we went through last year, so this is for this year. So how are we looking for money in that department?
I can't answer you right now. I don't know if Dennis, can you answer that one?
Don't have a clue.
So, I
Joanne,
guess
you
my
must-
question, how do we approve something? We don't know what we have.
Oh, you got more than enough money. Joanne, do you know the answer?
We do have enough money in special events currently. Even though there was $600,000 in the original budget, we looked ahead at events that we anticipated coming back to the county for the remainder of 2022. So the OCTAX committee approved some additional dollars. So at this moment in time, there is enough money in the special event code. But as you approach the end of the year and the off-season events, you may have to take money from the reserve later on.
I know we've had a good year. We haven't, but I just don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But, like I said, this has gotten great reviews in the past. I've heard about it and I am so happy. And like I said, the request amount is 15,000, which is not a whole lot of money for what this brings to our community and to show off our Queensbury High School Taj Mahal. I'm so happy. I mean our beautiful campus that we have there. I don't have a problem approving that. I just want to make sure that we got enough funds. Because I know like last year we had to pull some, but I know we have good money coming in, so I don't have a problem for this. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for the whole county and especially for Queensbury. So
Is that a motion? Mr.
I'll
Mc-
second
so
it.
I'll make a motion to approve this. Yes.
I'll second it, Gene.
All right, Dennis seconded it. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, it's Mike.
Mike, go ahead.
Thank you. I think I saw in the application that prior year fundings was 5,000. So this is a big jump. And is this something that we're going to expect to see going forward at $15,000 a year? And can we really afford to do that? So I was thinking maybe 10,000 might be a little bit more appropriate. See how it works this year and then, go from there.
Mr. Stroud?
Well, they've also asked the town of Queensbury for 15,000. So I'm thinking they're just covering their bases here.
Well, I didn't hear anything back from the town of Queensbury until I got ready to leave this morning. And then I got an update as saying that we could present on the 14th of March. I don't know how I've never presented there. I don't know how any of it works. So if you can help, that would be great.
Well, if you do the math, your event is 36,000. And if the county gives you 15,000 and you have anticipated revenues of 19,700, to break even, you only need 1,300 from Queensbury.
No, to bring in what I do, to bring in the guests for the international group here is totally 100% funded.
Yeah, well, your total cost is 36,000.
That could be, I don't know. I just know my only portion of it
That's what I'm looking at.
is to bring in the guests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the county would give you possibly 15,000. So, and you're anticipating 19,700 in other revenue. So you're only $1,300 short of your anticipated revenues to cover costs.
Well, I didn't do those, so I have no idea. I just know I'm the only one that takes care of the guests. I know I have to fund it. If I want them, I need to fund them 100%. And I've done that for these years. They don't give me a penny.
Right.
So I don't know about that. I didn't do that sheet. If you're talking about a sheet, I didn't do that. I don't know where it came from as far as where they came up with their dollars or any of that. I just know that whatever I do, I have to get the funding for it or I can't do it.
So are you saying then that you only need, if the county agrees to the 15,000, that's all you need for this event then?
That's what I need for this event. The rest of it, the registrations from the participants will take care of, as I understand it, the costs and stuff like that of other things. I just worry about me.
All right, and so you won't need. Right?
That's what I need total. I am thankful for what I get from whichever, Queensbury, Warren County. I will just say thank you because that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Follow up, please.
Brad, go ahead.
Yes, when did you submit that to Queensbury? Did you go Queensbury and Warren County both at the same time?
Yes. I just heard this morning that, I don't know if it's the community meeting or anyway, I was just before I left, heard it was March 14th at 4:00. I know, as I said, I didn't know anything about Warren County as far as the protocol, and I don't know anything about Queensbury, the town, because I've never presented either place before.
So my question, so I have a question. If you actually got more than what the county's going to give you on the 15,000, could you bring more in? Bring more singers in, some more quartets or groups. I mean, you have the international group that you'd like to bring in. I mean, this is,
Right.
this is an opportunity to expand.
Could I do that? Yes, I could do that, but thinking ahead and thinking about goals going into future years, would it be better to put all our aces out there now, or some of our aces, or bring these two groups in this year and next year? Next year, what I'd really like to do is bring over the international champs from Switzerland. That's my dream. But I don't know if it's next year or the year after or what. But I'm just thinking to build the tourism, to build the people coming in, not and to rebuild from COVID and so forth. So it's kind of like a process.
So, I mean, I didn't know that you would have also applied for Queensbury, which I'd like to see because Queensbury does get a certain amount of OCTAX money to, for Queensbury's own special events. So, but I would like to make sure that you're going to be whole.
And the other thing that I can promise you, which I've promised since day one, I don't look for 1 penny more than I need. And if I get 3 pennies back that I don't need, I can return them. We're all volunteers. I'm not out to make money. We're nonprofit and sincere in what I believe. I'm not cheating anybody. So I won't use more than I need. So
But you need 15,000 to get what you need here.
Correct.
So I guess my goal today is to make sure that you're guaranteed so you can get everybody booked, because we're not talking a whole lot of time here.
No, we're not. And that's making me
and Queensbury doesn't have you up until what, March 14th?
right, which is kind of late in the ball game to get in.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks.
Yeah. And to give the go ahead for this chorus too, so they can start planning.
All right, Joanne has something. Joanne, go ahead.
Just for the committee's clarification on the application, we do ask the applicants if they are applying to other municipalities for funding. And it's my understanding that this might not have been on the application that they applied to the town of Queensbury. So we do take that into consideration if it is indicated on the application.
Well,
I did the summary. I didn't do the application. That's in somebody else's handwriting, the VP. I'm just looking to see if it was asked, if the question was asked, but like I said, I don't do the application, just the summary.
Mr. Chairman, it's Mike.
Yeah, Mike, go ahead, sir.
I'm more than willing to support splitting this with the town of Queensbury if Supervisor Stroud thinks he can make that happen.
I don't think I can.
yeah, I don't think John can do that, you know? I mean, I don't see a problem with Queensbury doing it, but I don't want to hold up the quartet either, you know? So if we allow the 15 today and Queensbury approves it, maybe Queensbury can split it then and give it back to our fund. How about that, John? Can we do that?
Dreaming.
I think if she has a $1,300 shortfall, that Queensbury be willing to contribute to that or make up for that. But it's difficult for me to speak for our board.
Right. Well, I'll keep my resolution there and go for it. And then next year, we can work that out. And, or if Queensbury decides that, okay, we'll give them the 15,000 and then she doesn't need it. And then she gives the 15,000 back to the county. Wow, now that's good thinking.
I can do that. I have no problem doing that. Or they can give it back to Warrensburg directly. I'm okay with either.
Any other comments on this? Dennis, would you like to join us in this decision?
I already expressed my opinion. She asked for 15. I'm more than willing to give it to her.
All right, how about Brad? Would you make the motion for 15? If
We have
Mr.
a motion.
Dickinson seconds it?
I did. I made the motion.
All right, then with the caveat that if she has extra funds, it'll get returned to us, the county.
And if Queensbury kicks in, you know, and makes her completely whole, a little bit more than the 1350, you know, on their percentage that they get, because it is a Queensbury function here, then the county can get some money back. And we put something in the resolution like that.
Chairman, can I just, can we amend the motion that the county attorney will provide language so that this entity doesn't receive more than $15,000 between town of Queensbury and the county? And other language necessary to effectuate that.
Mr. McGowan, you all right with that?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
And Mr. Dickinson, you okay too?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on. We got all that settled? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's finish here. CBB, quarterly report. Gina, are you with us?
I sure am.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Still awake?
Hello. I'll defer to Tammy for the PowerPoint.
Tammy doesn't have a PowerPoint.
Oh, my gosh.
Are you kidding me?
If Jeff would like to go first, let me double check that the PowerPoint went to Tammy.
You would love to.
All right, Jeff, you're up next. Go ahead.
Thank you. I sent in a sheet, I think a while ago to Kristen and the appropriate staff. So hope you all had it. I'm talking Q4 of 2021. Our event, which finally we kind of got back to normal. We hosted 28 events for the Q4. We had 3 others that were postponed due to a COVID outbreak that happened here with our players and some of our staff. And those games are being made up, including one tonight. The highlights, obviously, we did the Puppy Bowl again, which was starting in September, which is Q3, but got into October. Again, it was really good. A lot of hotel rooms, a lot of food and beverage for the local restaurants. They did a lot of catering, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a really good event. We did a wedding again. The Thunder started playing, highlighted by October 23rd, opening night, where we were sold out at 4,999, which at that point was a restriction. We've done a number of Thunder games, and as you can see by the attendance, it was a really good start to the season. On and off the ice, we've had a little bit of struggle here on the ice lately, but our crowds have still been really good, which is great news for us. The rodeo came back. As you can see, that was the best 2-night stretch that we've had since I've been here, and that was very exciting. State girls volleyball came back after a COVID hiatus. Again, you saw 200 hotel rooms, and that's probably a conservative number, but I didn't want to overestimate the number. Again, the attendance was up for volleyball compared to the last time we hosted it. We always do a couple high school hockey games, smaller attendance, but still, it's an event for the arena. Then it's a number of Thunder games. So Q4 was good for us. Obviously, we did not see any concerts come back in 2021. We announced one a couple weeks ago, Breaking Benjamin, for middle of April this year, which we're excited about, and tickets are selling well. We've got 3 other holds for fall of 2022 for some pretty good sized concerts. So, we're excited about that. Some of our dance events are coming back for the summer. All the graduations are back this summer, including Glens Falls will return again. We're working on some high school wrestling events, excluding that, not Section 2 or not tied to New York State Public High School Athletic Association. So we're pretty encouraged that 2022 and then certainly fall of 22 will be a really good calendar for us. So happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Sounds like you're coming back, Jeff. Keep it up.
Thank you, Gene. Yeah, we're pretty encouraged here right now. We've got a ton done inside the building. The roof is probably halfway done. And our suite project should hopefully be done by the state boys basketball finals, which is in mid-March. So, we're pretty encouraged right now.
All right, so this is just your overall report.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Gina should be good to go.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
All right, y'all have a good day. Thanks so much. I gotta go
You
out.
too, Jeff. Good to see you.
All right, see y'all. Thank you.
All right,
Go Thunder.
Thank you.
all right, we ready for Gina's report? You're working on it?
Thank you. It's kind of hard to follow the Puppy Bowl, you got to say. I mean, anything that's before the Super Bowl is a pretty big deal. Thank you all, and welcome to our new supervisors that are on our Occupancy Tax Committee, Supervisor Runyon and Supervisor Gerasi. I'm Gina Mincer, the Executive Director of the Lake George Regional Chamber of Commerce and CVB, and today here to talk about our Q4 report for the CVB. Next slide, please. So I'll be talking about, I'll just review quickly our sales and services activities for this Q4, and a full package was given to the tourism committee last month. So I apologize. I will send new information and updated information to everyone on the committee, but also to include definitely Supervisor Runyon and Supervisor Gerasi as new members of this committee. Marketing and advertising, as well as community development and our convention services that we produced during Q4 of last year. Next slide. Our outcome highlights are investment in action. Basically, our budget for the fourth quarter was $120,000, and these are the results. Next slide. So for our Q4 sales, we had 8 bookings with a value of 15,900 in EEI, meaning the economic and employment impact. So for each event that was in that final report that we had distributed last month, again, I will get that to everybody. It had a list of all of those 8 events, what types of events they were, what the dates were that they were taking place, whether it was, you know, in 2022 coming up or in 2023 and there beyond, and then what the value of that was based on the type of event that it is. And that's how we get to that. So this year, in this fourth quarter, you can see the difference between the same quarter this year compared to last year. Last year, we thought we were starting to slowly come out of the pandemic, or that booking, you know, events were happening. But that, you know, things didn't happen, especially we realized this fall, as soon as that Omicron and well, really the Delta variant hit this fall, we had corporate events that actually pulled out this past fall that we're still rescheduling for this year. Next slide, please. So the next piece was, so year to date, this was also asked so that you understood how we fared throughout the year. So we had a total bookings for the year of 38 bookings. Our goal was to book 50 based on our marketing and sales plan that was presented to the committee, or to the tourism committee, I should say, back in 2021 or 2020 for 2021. So we had a total of 38 bookings valued at 82 million for the EEI type. Our goal was 50. With that, there were over 31,000 attendees tied to those bookings. Again, our goal was 14,000 because as we were coming, you know, we're coming out of the pandemic, we saw that groups were getting smaller. We were fortunate enough that groups actually came back strong, the ones that have booked. Of those bookings, 38,000 in room nights. Again, our goal was 19 for the year, so we exceeded that goal. And of those, that would have been 14 million in economic impact. And these groups that have booked are in excess of 82 million in economic impact. And again, that's over from the time they're, you know, the dates that are booked between now and it could be as far out as 2025, actually. Next slide, please. Our website traffic for Lake George Regional Convention and Visitors Bureau. So we've been driving traffic throughout our, in everything that we've done to the visitlakegeorge.com. And this year, in working with Joanne and her team, we were able to start meetlakegeorge.com. So we saw that in 2020, we were able to drive 7,400 folks, and these are targeted folks to the website. It's specifically meeting and event planners, not necessarily the leisure traveler. And so we've been able to grow that because of the content. Joanne talked about the value of the content, the value of blogging and other content information. We've been able to drive 18,517 people, page views to both sites in total for 2021. Next slide. In the news, so we track through Meltwater Media Monitoring our PR efforts, basically in the news. So we're tracking 2 things, both for the Lake George CVB in the news overall, but also the specific events. So we had 2 major events where PR was a big push this past fall in this last quarter, which was the Lake George Triathlon, and then also ice castles. And this is early ice castles. This is any mentions of ice castles in the Q4 timeframe. So, so overall, we had, 80, and this is the advertising value equivalency of this PR. So if we had to buy this PR, this is what it would have cost us. And so we were able to, with the triathlon, the coverage was phenomenal for that this year with $123,000 worth of earned media. And ice castles in this fourth quarter was $573,000. Overall, other mentions were, as you can see here in 2020, we were at $500 or $54,000 in earned media, whereas this year, other mentions were at $83,000 in this fourth quarter. Next slide, please. In the news, the ad value for the whole year of everything that we worked on would have been in 2020 was close to $900,000, or I'm sorry, $800,000, and this year was closer to $900,000. And as you could see, the bulk of that was Ice Castle's coverage for the year. Next slide, please. And marketing and advertising, moving right along. So through our e-blast, blogs, and social media, focusing on winter indoor attractions and things to do, hotel renovations, and meet your host. These are a variety of ways that we're reaching out to our meeting and event planners with information about the destination. We've aligned all of our marketing branding to be an extension of everything of Lake George area and Warren County tourism. And so we have been able to garner 272,000 impressions, and that would be through social media and back to the website. Next slide, please. The weddings were a big portion that we began. Well, it's just a piece of the fourth quarter. Our weddings promotion actually began in December. It's right after Thanksgiving is when the big engagement period is, and it goes through Valentine's Day. So our marketing effort specifically for the weddings market happens in this time frame and will end just like right now at the end of February. So with that, between our hosted blogs, hosted Facebook posts, as well as website promotion, we have a digital wedding guide that we're also able to send those leads to our partners, our destination partners. They're getting leads from our website impressions, the digital guide, from various promotions that we've done through NewJerseyWeddings.com, as well as on Long Island. We don't attend personally, but we have our Lake George area bags and postcards to get information on the people that are attending those wedding shows on the Long Island market. And we're able to send back those contacts to our wedding partners, whether or not they've chosen a venue, but maybe they might have their bridal party here, they might have their getaways, they might have their honeymoon in the area. So we're marketing all aspects of weddings to a variety of markets, and then sending back those contacts to our partners. Next slide, please. Sports. So website impressions were 2,700, again, going back to both Meet Lake George and Visit Lake George in total. And then the newsletter that was sent in the fourth quarter, it had a 25% open rate. And that was specifically based on our database of sports events planners, different than just general event planners. Next slide. And community development. Last but not least. In this area, convention services were mainly focused on gearing up for Winterfest, which began technically in December. New York State Public High School Athletic Association volleyball was over the weekend before Thanksgiving at the Cool and Shearing Arena, and then of course Ice Castles. So once that they came on site, starting in right after Columbus Day weekend, when they took over the site, anything that they needed outside of the site, from a logistics standpoint, contacts in the community, where to park their containers, finding the food truck vendor that would help them, other outreach for hiring for them. Those were all aspects where we provided services for that. Our DEI initiative within our community, we had a Travel Unity presentation. He is a nationally known speaker that we brought in to really talk about, get the conversation going. Since then, there's been other presentations in the community, and we sit on the steering committee that's chaired by President Duffy for our community. And so there'll be more events and other discussions and marketing opportunities within the DEI discussions in that initiative. And lastly, our A to D program, Arrival to Departure Tourism Awareness Training Program. We've trained 155 folks to date, and really that bulk of them were trained in the year of 2021. And we'll be gearing up for, as new people come and get hired this spring, we'll gear up more training for that in anticipation of another busy year within our market area. Any questions?
Do we have any questions out there? It's a lot to absorb.
Actually, Jean, I do, or Supervisor Merlino.
Yes, go ahead.
Actually, I have two questions. One relating to the earned media. We have a number of new committee members here on our OCTAX committee. But the earned media numbers that you were indicating in Q4 as well as throughout the year, was that based on organic earned media, or was that something that was generated, those numbers generated based on what occurred from the staff, either through press releases or actual events that were generated through the chamber or the CVB?
So it's really a combination of both. So we were able to extrapolate out, like specifically the ice castles and the triathlon, where we had participated in helping with the distribution of press releases on both of those events. Whereas the other ones were another way to track specific all events that happened in the area, or anything where it mentioned the CVB in particular, specifically.
Okay. Second question I had for you, again, for the committee. Not everybody may understand what EEI is and how that's calculated. So maybe if you could explain for folks on this committee what exactly and how that formula is derived at and how those numbers are derived at to get to, those totals.
Okay, good question. So EEI specifically stands for the economic and employment impact of a tourism of a piece of business. So for instance, if we were working on a convention is calculated differently than a conference or a board meeting or a special event. Let's say like an ice castles would be a special event versus a conference that did not have a trade show component, which would be considered a convention. A board meeting would be a board meeting, let's say for a corporate event. Those would all have different calculations because they actually spend dollars differently. And so when a piece of business, a lead is generated and sent to our destination partners for those overnight rooms and for their food and beverage, and that is all taken into consideration into the value of that one piece of business. So we actually have a math equation that goes along with each type of business that gets booked into the market. So for instance, if it were, we'll just take a conference that had 100 people, they were staying overnight for 3 nights, and their rate was roughly $139 per night. The calculation would also include an expected expenditure of their food and beverage, of what they will spend predominantly in retail. What will they spend for, retail meaning you'd gas up your car somehow, some form of transportation in that regard. And then also their recreation. And so it's a line item. When we look at every tourism dollar, it's divided up by a percentage of where that one tourism dollar gets spent. So it's a linear equation based on each piece of business, the number of attendees and the actual room nights. So that's how we get to the economic impact of each piece of business. And then what are the jobs that are sustained by that piece of business? And from that, each individual piece of business, we can also tell how much is going to be generated in occupancy tax as well as in sales tax.
Any other questions for Gina? All right, thank you, Gina.
Thanks.
Mr. Attorney, are you ready for that report that's at the bottom of this, or are you still working on it?
We're still working on it. I did start reviewing the long history of resolutions regarding OCTAX. I don't I'm not necessarily ready to engage in a larger conversation with the committee, but I would ask that if there's any supervisors that have specific issues, concerns, or questions regarding the process and procedure in the past, to reach out to me. I haven't received any feedback. Just my general understanding that there's a desire to update the agreements that have been used in the past to hopefully be more user-friendly in the future. But if there is any specific comments, concerns, questions from any of the committee members, please reach out to me in the next few weeks so we can have those conversations one-on-one. And that would aid me and assist me in putting together a work product for the committee to review.
Thank you. All right, Don, anything out on YouTube or any other things you watch?
Hi, Chairman Merlino. I can speak for YouTube, not the other things I watch, but nothing on YouTube.
All right, thank you very much. Anything from the committee? Any other? Do I see any hands? I don't see any hands. All right, how about a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Mr. Stroud, Dennis,
Yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, we're adjourned. Thank you all.
Dean,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. I appreciate it. I owe you, buddy.